Oh, that was weak. We got one more day in school. Good evening to you. All right, I want to thank you guys for coming out. The game plan, the goal as always is to provide you in a timely way with as much information as we can to communicate with you and let you know some of the new things that are coming up and pretty much just make sure that we are all on the same page. But I thank you for being here tonight, guys. We're going to go as quickly and efficiently as we can. I know that time is a precious commodity, and if you're like me, you're burning the candle on both ends. A lot of us were up here late Tuesday night. Some of us on the board were up here late last night. And but there's a lot of information that we need to go over. Please make sure that you have gotten a packet of information. But as we get started, let me say this. I'm excited about the upcoming year. It's our school year never ends because, you know, we just got finished. We got done with the band banquet. We turn around and we've already started with a new band and things are exciting and we're getting ready for next year. We're kicking off with the rookies on Monday, teaching them how to march. But again, we've come together tonight to get you that information. But I'm also excited and that I've had an opportunity to sit down quite a bit with our Milton High School Band Parent Association Executive Board. And they're making some changes. We're kind of moving in a direction trying to work smarter, not harder. And this time I want to turn it over to our President, Lynn Barton, and the board. And I want you guys to understand something, that you are a member of the Band Parent Association. A few years ago, we changed the name from Band Booster to Band Parent Association because you're a Milton High School band parent. You're part of this association and we need you. And so at this time, Lynn, if you and the board will come up, let you guys introduce yourselves and speak a little bit.
Can everybody hear me without microphone?
No.
All right. First thing I want to do is introduce myself. I think I've met most of you. If I don't know you by name, I know you by face. My name's Lynn Barton. My son is Ben Stevens. He's in percussion. He'll be a senior this year. I had a daughter graduate 2013, also a percussionist. And this will be my 5th year as a band parent, my 4th year serving on the board. So I want to go ahead and go down the line and introduce. We're missing one of our board members, Kay Camp. She's got a busy schedule this week. Her son is Hank Card. He's a trumpet player. Carl?
My name is Carl Brown, the first vice president. I got a granddaughter, Wiley McDaniel, in the band. She's been in the band for 4 years. I've been part of the association for about 2.5 years. Part of the board for the last year and a half. She plays a trumpet. She's a senior this year, last year. Thank you all for coming.
My name is Dan Carlson. I'm the assistant treasurer. My son is Nicholas Carlson. He's a percussionist. He'll be a temporary this year. This is my first year in the association. Oh, thank you for coming.
I'm Kelly Henriksen. My daughter Danielle is in the Fearless Flute Group. She is a junior this year. My son Richard graduated Tuesday night. Yay! This is my 3rd child in the band, and it's been a long time and a lot of changes, and we're really excited about what's going to happen this year. I'm second vice president. I'm just around.
I'm Emma Beebe. I'm assistant secretary and help out trying to do all the volunteer, collect all the volunteer hours. My daughter graduated 2 years ago from color guard and been in here for 2 years.
My name is Tony Peach. My son is Nicholas Peach. He will be a sophomore next year. He is in the saxophone section, alto sax. My position on the board is treasurer, and I'm ending my first year in the Band Parents Association.
Thank you. All right, we have a few quick announcements. First, we're excited about this year. Like Mr. Weaver said, we've had several meetings with the new board. We're moving in a positive way. We're going to have some positive changes. We might have a few growing pains along the way, but we're trying to work it out, and make it fun for everybody. It is hard work at times, but it can be a lot of fun, and you can make some really good friends while you're doing it. And the best thing to me about doing this job or being part of the organization and going to things is I usually have a lot of information. My kids, you know, most of you guys don't go home and tell your parents what's going on in the band. Mr. Weaver is here every board, or most of the meetings we have those second Tuesday of every month, and he gives us a heads up, so I know stuff before my son does. And you find out a lot of stuff, some good, some bad, mostly good. And it's being connected to the band, you're also being connected to your student and to your child. And it's been a great opportunity that I've gone closer with my son and made a lot of great friends throughout, Mr. Weaver and everybody. But real quick, I said June 10th is our next regular meeting, every second Tuesday, and if it changes, we send an email out and let you guys know. I want to see this kind of crowd every second Tuesday of the month, because we really give out a lot of good information, and we're moving with a lot more changes that you're going to want to know about. The other thing, we have an ongoing spirit night. Mr. Tony Peach does Firehouse Subs. It's the first Thursday of every month. What time does it start? 4 p.m. If you go the first Thursday of every month, put your receipt in the bucket, and he gives us 15% of all of that back to the boosters. So you go, have a great sub, great food, and you're giving back to the band at the same time.
That's next Thursday.
And it's next Thursday, so even though school's out, you can still support the band, write it down on your calendar. Again, if that changes, we'll let you know ahead of time. The other ongoing fundraiser we have is Ronnie's Car Wash. If you go to Ronnie's Car Wash, and I don't know if it's in this paperwork, but the code is 5070. We'll send something out in our newsletter. We're going to be sending out a newsletter of how that code. If you go there, you'll get a $10 car wash, and they donate $4 for every $10 car wash if you put that code in right back to us. So you're getting your car washed, don't have to worry about doing that, and then give it back to the band. Except for in July, don't do it in July, because we got another car wash we need to work on. We can, and we're going to start using the chamber and their marquee more often to publicize our events, because now we are members of the chamber, if you don't know. And they've told us, like I said, we're having growing pains. We're trying to get used to putting more stuff out in social media. And we do need volunteers to help us do that. So, and to volunteers, next Wednesday, percussion camp. I don't know how many percussionists I have in the house, but percussionists, you're going to be here, so invite your parents. We're going to have a small meat sticking over in the softball concession stand, since you're going to be here anyway. And you don't have to be a percussionist. I'm just letting the percussionists know. It's a good time to come, and it's very informal. We have a good time talking, and it's not real hard work. It's just a smaller meat sticking. Oh, does everybody know what a meat sticking is? If you don't know, raise your hand so I know somebody. Nicole, we look you in every lunch. Hopefully you will know by the end of this year. You do know what a shish kebab is. Okay, so we basically, we get our meat, it's cut, it's pre-cut for us, and we put it on the sticks. It's exactly what it sounds like, a meat sticking. Then we put it in our totes, marinate it, and put it in our freezer. Because it takes a lot of shish kebabs for a football game. We sell anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 each game, not including pays. So that's a lot of meat.
And guys, the way that we've been getting it cut, at least the past year and maybe year and a half, it's been a heck of a lot easier just to stick the meat in there. We hardly even cut anymore. Just take a little cube of meat and put it on the stick.
Yes.
Very easy.
Yes.
Doesn't take a whole lot of time home.
There's students who have done meat stickings before more than the last year, can attest to that. They used to have to cut it from a slab. Now it's pretty much cubed up, and there might be a little bit of trimming, but it's an easy event. it qualifies for one of your volunteer events. So, maybe you're not a crowd person, you don't like to go inside a big crowded concession stand. This is a perfect opportunity to meet one of your volunteer criteria. Because even though we're not making money, it's one of the money-making events that's providing us with what we need to make money. The other thing, June 30th, this is for kids, adults. We'll publicize this. We're having a big meat sticking. July 4th, we usually sell about 1,400 shish kebabs down the river on July 4th. So we will have what time is it?
12 to 6.
From 12 to 6 in the cafeteria, just like the regular student meat stickings, we will be having a meat sticking. And we are going to probably have anywhere from 6 to 10 boxes of meat. So we need as many volunteers to that as possible.
Students and parents.
Yes, I said students and parents. So students, if you guys are missing each other, even if you aren't.
They'll have 2 or 3 weeks off at that point, they'll ready to get back together.
Yeah. Lynn, we're having one on Wednesday. Wednesday, percussion camp starts at 5, correct, John?
Yes.
So anywhere from 5 until we're done, and we usually get 2 boxes done in a couple hours, depending. We need about 10 people, so we can get 3 boxes knocked out in that 4-hour period.
And that concession stand, if you don't know, is right behind those tents in that corner right there. You walk beside the building, there's the concession tent right there. It's part of our building, the softball concession.
The other thing, Mr. Weaver's going to touch base with you guys on this. Volunteering, there are so many different types of volunteering with our organization this year, from chaperoning to the concession stands and everything in between. So please just don't feel like you can't volunteer because you don't want to do the meat sticking or you don't want to work in the concession stand. Get with your section parent, get with Mr. Weaver, myself, and talk to us, because we will try to make it where every single person gets a chance to volunteer and help us. Because your hours are valuable, and that's why we need you. We had over 10,000 volunteer hours last year for just the band program. That's a lot of hours. So the last thing I need to do real quick is we need to call an emergency board meeting of the membership to have a quick vote. The executive board has made a motion. Before I say the motion, let me just tell you, today, if some people know, our walk-in freezer, where we keep all of our shish kebabs, went out. Luckily, we didn't have very many in there. And Mr. Peach is letting us store what we did have temporarily in his coolers. So we thought we fixed it with a fuse, didn't work. So tomorrow we have a gentleman coming over to look at it, no charge to us, at 8 o'clock. In the event we need to fix it and it costs more than $300, we have to have a vote by the membership to approve that money spent. And so right now we're not out anything. I think it was $8 for a fuse. But if we have to replace a compressor, that can be quite expensive. However, that stores thousands of shish kebabs, and we have to have that freezer. So at this time, I'm going to tell you, there's a motion from the executive board to approve spending $300 or more, however much it takes, as long as it's not obviously more than what the freezer would cost, to fix the freezer. Doesn't require a second, so I'm going to ask all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm learning Robert's Rules of Order. I'm going to open it for discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Well, having been in the association a couple of years, it's quite obvious we have to stick quite a number of these ahead and freeze them. We can't do it as we go along. It's absolutely impossible. We do not have the manpower to do it per game. We all have too much going on. Sometimes we have X amount of people show up. Sometimes we have 2 or 3. Sometimes we have 20. It can't be done. You have to have them done ahead. I do not see it as an if. I see this as a must. I don't see where we have an option.
I mean, in my opinion, it has to be done. We have to do what we have to do.
Well, that's why the board brought this tonight, because it is, I mean, it may be something that is simple to fix and cost less than $300.
Could be a wire burnout or something like
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Any other discussion?
What about in the case of people? And you need a new one? Mention that fact too, so we have to do.
I don't think the board will have to go. We'll have to transfer it.
Yeah, we'll have to find it.
We're talking about a walk-in freezer, it's a huge.
Yeah, it's like the size of one of those storage pods. It's not a small, it's not attached to our concessions. It's a separate building itself across the street.
It's actually right next station in our block, if you ever go between the Shell station next to our block, you'll see it right
So even if we had to buy a new one, we would have to do a lot of Saturday sales. We would have to beg, plead, and borrow for that, if it came to that. Is there any other discussion? Okay, so then at this time, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of allowing the board to spend $300 or more to fix our walk-in freezer, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Raise your hand. All right, so the motion carries. And we will let you know how it turns out in that meeting. The Richmond meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Clark, and all the board. Guys, I'll tell you again, I'm excited. I hauled these folks off last weekend, or weekend before last, out to Camp Colonia. And it was quite an experience. I've never stayed at Camp Colonia. It's very rustic, but we had a great on Friday night until about 2 o'clock in the morning, talking, planning sessions, and then all day Saturday as well. So I'm excited about where we're going. Guys, I'm excited about some of the things that we're looking at. Volunteering. Let me just say this, and we've been doing a lot of record keeping this year. This past year we had 163 students in the band, and we did our best to keep track of volunteer hours. And I know that we had over 10,000 volunteer hours, but 6,500 of those were on a cruise. Okay, because we have the hours that were on the cruise. But and this is where the expectations that have got to be better on our part. Of those volunteers, though, we only had out of 163, we had 65 students that were represented in those volunteer hours. So we had about a little less than 100 where we didn't have participation. And so, and hear this from the bottom of my heart, guys, your students are part of our program, our parents are a part of our program too. And so we need everybody. And what I've talked to this board about is what's important is that we plug people in where they're gifted, where they fit. And so, we're going to share a little bit more about that this evening. If you look at point number 3, we've done some research as well. We've spent some time online looking at what other band programs do. The last 2 years, we did a $50 incentive program where you could work off $50 off your band fee by volunteering at 2 different money-making events. And understand, it's about keeping your fees down. And what we've discovered is quite a few band programs in the direction that I liked and that we started looking at, we talked to the board and they were in agreement, is the opportunity to save $100 by volunteering at any 3 events that we host, 2 of which need to be fundraising where we make money. Okay? Now what does that mean? 2 money-making events and helping chaperone, or 2 money-making events and helping with a medical tenant band camp, in order to save $100 off the band fee. That's what that means. Okay? We're not going to do $33.33 for every activity. It's work 3 events and work that off. Now I'll tell you this, because 20 years, I just finished my 20th year at Milton High School, and for the first time last Friday night, I said, you know what, I've got a daughter that's going to be an 11th grader in the band this year. I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to volunteer as a band parent. And so I went to Bands on the Blackwater. There was a picture, because pictures had to be taken. Looking's working, okay? I've never worked a grill with the band boosters because I've always been the band director, but that night I went as a band parent. And I'll tell you, I was a little intimidated at first because I'm not the greatest grill chef there is. All right, and they ended up putting me doing hamburgers and hot dogs. I took Mr. Carl's spot on his grill, and I love me a good Carl burger, okay, Mr. Carl burger. But I enjoyed it. Listen to me when I say that. I had a good time. Now, at first, I was a little stressed by it. And they're screaming, we need more hamburgers. And I'm going, okay, I'm dropping them. I'm trying to. But at the end of the night, I had a great great time doing it. And that's what this is about. Our students love this program. They work hard. And as parents, guys, you're a huge part of this as well. And so I encourage you, let's get involved. You're going to notice in your band handbook a little bit later when we get there, the last page is something new, is a volunteer form. And we brainstormed and thought of every aspect where we can plug parents in. And what we're asking is that every student in the band return one of those forms from their parents. Notice there's a sign up for mom, dad, and grandparents on there as well. And so what we want to do is, we know there's some folks that are great at sewing. If Greg Weaver had to sew a button on, oh my goodness, we're going to have a problem. Duct tape and super glue would be involved, okay? But we want to plug folks in where they enjoy doing things. Not everybody's made for concessions. Not everybody is made for working in large groups and high rush type situations. But we want to plug folks in where they're gifted. We may have some band dads that are good at refrigeration services, that we can go, hey, Mr. Smith, the freezer broke again, we need you, okay? Or the air conditioner quit the concession stand, it's 110 degrees at the base game, we need you right now. Okay, so that's the direction we're headed. We need everybody. It takes an army to get things done. Okay, and understand this, that without the booster organization, it's in the handout somewhere. I don't remember where I put it, but our fees would be, without what they cover right now, our fees would be about $130, $140 more per person this year than what they are now. Okay, so please, we need your help. You're part of this association. I beg you. I beg you. Does anybody see my fair email when I was sitting begging email out about needing help at the fair? Okay, no, okay. I beg you, get involved, please. Man, I've 22 years of teaching. The parents that are involved, their kids seem to have the better experience as well. Moving on, this year's band, let me just share my excitement with you about that. A couple of weeks ago, we got real stressed because it looked like we were going to have 200 members. Right now, we're sitting at about 185, 186 since we've had the kickoff, the step off, and the downbeat rehearsal. I always forget those names. But we're sitting at about 185, 186 right now. We had some incoming students that didn't show up. I think we had at one point 118, I think we're up to 120 now returning students. Okay, so you do the math, that's about 65 or 66 new students that we've got coming to the program. Now, all the folks that are here tonight are returning members, returning parents. Next Tuesday night, they're going to have a much longer meeting. We're going to talk to all the new students and new parents. We're going to go over the band handbook and all that good stuff. But bigger band, the biggest band we've ever had here was about 2 or 3 years ago, 165. We were at 163 this past year, so we're close to that. So we're looking at the biggest band. We're excited about that. This past year, man, the halftime show was epic. That's all I can say. It was epic, which was the name of the show. But I told Mr. Schultz of my 20 years that was my favorite halftime show. And that's the one that I went into kicking and screaming, going, I don't think this is going to work. They don't know the music. Okay? But this upcoming year, I think, and we're not trying to top last year's show, but we're trying to put something out there again that'll be entertaining. But it's a superhero halftime show. Now, about 7-8 years ago, I did superhero music with our halftime show. This one's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be a little more artistic, but we're going to use a lot of modern day superhero music from the more recent movies, but we're going to kind of give you little glimpses to the old Superman and the old Batman. But kind of the whole role and the whole goal of this halftime show is really at the end to honor modern day heroes. And we're not going to give that away until later on in the show, but we're going to kind of make it based on the characteristics of a superhero. And then we've got all these surprises in store at the end of the show. If they work out, I think it's really going to impress you. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. But if we can change the color of a uniform in 7 seconds, we're going to make it happen. Okay? While we hide the band. So stay tuned for that. It ain't going to happen at the first 2 or 3 games, but hopefully by the end of September, the crowd's going to jump to their feet and start throwing money and everything else. Okay? So we're excited about that. I think the students are excited about that as well. In your packet, number 5, tonight you should have received an agenda, and that's what we're probably looking at right now. The band handbook out of the big box, it's only 37 pages now. Just gets bigger and bigger. I'm glad we had the copy counts, Ms. Tina. A fundraiser information sheet for the car wash-a-thon, because we want to go ahead and start getting that information out to you. It looks like this has a grid on the bottom. And then you're gonna notice, a two-sided sheet. One says Association of Music Parents Membership, which I'll address with later, and one says Milton High School Band Instrumental Needs on the other side. And I'll address it later. Please make sure you got that stuff. If you don't, feel free, as I'm moving on through the program, to come on up and get that. But I want to make sure, as you leave, you got all that stuff tonight. But the first thing that I want us to look at, item number 6, is the band handbook. And in talking to the board, I realize there's some things I've never communicated with you. A lot of folks think, well, the school funds the band, the school district, man, we're number 2 or number 3 or number 1 or whatever we are in the state. Guys, I'll tell you this, and I'm actually going on right now, this upcoming school year, I'll be the county instrumental music coordinator, okay? But in the past years, I've been the one they've asked to crunch the numbers and show, what bands are getting what. From the school district, all the bands in Santa Rosa, all the high school, all the middle school, we get a total of $53,000 a year in funding for all 5 high schools and all 9 or 10 middle schools. Okay? What that breaks to what we've done in the past with the money we get from the county is 60% of that 53 goes to the high schools, 40% to the middle school. In the first week of school, they all submit their numbers to me with how many members they have in the program, and we divide that amount into how much do you get per student, much like the school district does. And this past year, our band program from the school district received $7,113. And that is to purchase new instruments. A new sousaphone cost over $6,000, just so you know. Okay? To purchase new instruments, that is for instrument repair and maintenance. We got a concert tuba back yesterday that had a bracket that it broke loose. We had to have it soldered. It takes a special solder. Mr. Schultz has tried to solder in the past, and he just can't make it work the way it needs to. Yeah, okay? But we have to send these off. That tuba was $100. We sent a tenor sax off, one that has been in the locker back there that needed fixing because we don't have enough instruments, and it's $300 to fix that tenor sax. Okay, that's not just servicing, that's getting it broken instruments fixed. So, and then from the school, we get a little bit from Milton High School. The school doesn't get a lot. They kind of do it. There's a formula that the school uses. But for Milton High School itself, the money that the county gives the school, and they break down, ours is less than $500. Okay? So $7,613 is what we get to run the band program all year. So when I tell you that, because I want folks to understand, that's why we pay fees. That's why we have a band parent association. I want you to think about what all we do with our kids, and we get $7,100, and we have to provide school-owned instruments. We have to keep them repaired and maintained, and we're continuing to grow. Okay. So as we get started, the first thing I want you to do is, if you will, I want to look at fair share fees and the budgets. If you look at page 14, and I'm not going to hit all this other stuff you already know about our rehearsals, and I'll show it, but you know how things pretty much work. If not, this is some great bedtime reading. It'll put you right to sleep. But it's one of those things that we have to do as a school district though as well, just to put policy into place, to cover ourselves and so forth. But if you will look, starting on page 14, you will see our budget for this year. And you can ask Mr. Schultz, we've sat down and had conversations, but I have spent weeks on this budget, trying to tweak it, trying to go, do we need that? Do we not need that? Is this important? Is that not important? And I'm almost down to the bare bones on the budget for this year. But every time we get on a school bus, it costs us money to travel. Every school bus costs us money to travel, 95 cents a mile round trip. And we actually found that it's cheaper for us to hire school teachers that have their CDLs, and we pay them $100 for a football game or $125 than to go through the school bus company, because we have to pay per hour from the time that we leave to the time that we get back. So 6 or 7 hours, at their $25 an hour, I'd rather give it to a school teacher that we use every week that's going to wear a band shirt, knows how we do things, and going to support us. Okay? But you can see our travel budget's $21,332. One of the fun type things, something that I do that's a big to do, the FSU Band Day. 2 or 3 years ago, we took the band to FSU Band Day. The cool thing about FSU Band Day is our tickets for the FSU game are free. The FSU band provides those tickets. As a matter of fact, this year we had 4 students marching at FSU. In the band, we had 1 at Auburn, which was kind of cool to have 5 students at the national championship game this year. But one of our purposes as high school, just like the middle school's purpose, is to push kids from middle school to high school, is to encourage our kids to pursue band after this. We talked about that. We want to send the band to FSU Band Day. It is September 6th. They're playing the Citadel, which is, I know, is going to be a blowout, and it always is. But all their other games are big top 20 teams or conference games. But what it allows our kids to do, the FSU marching chiefs put on a show for us beforehand. We're their guests. We get there. It shows our students what big-time college football is about, even if they don't like football. And they get to watch the marching band. And again, we're doing our job of promoting for them to move up. $6,400 a lot of money, but it's charter buses. And I toyed around, do we take school buses? You know, and school buses are going to cost us about $3,000. For $3,400 more, we can take charter. We can get there faster. We can be more comfortable. We're coming off a football game the night before. Sometimes you weigh that out and go, you know what, it's worth the extra. But and so that's what we've decided, something different, for all the band, 4 charter buses to transport this band. Just wanted to point that out because that's something sort of new this year. Membership registration fees. We've got a lot in that. Smart music. We were trying to do that this past year, as I shared with the leadership of the band here yesterday. We were planning to purchase smart music. We had it in the budget this past year. Okay? What happened is there were some things that I forgot and left out of the budget. One of those was we had to rent, well, I didn't realize when the Black Beast, think about it breaking down, the old Black Band truck, but we had to rent another U-Haul truck every time we traveled somewhere. Plus, we had to put gas in it. Plus, we discovered, after we started football season, that for the past 4 years, we're supposed to be paying for gas that we get from the bus bar. Okay? And so you can add, anytime we fill this truck up, there's $90 to $100 right there that we have to put in it. We had those expenses. We figured out we were going to Biloxi last year. We did the goodie bags. We did Gatorade, all that type of stuff when they got done with their first performance. We had Nutri-Grain bars, that type of stuff we gave the kids. When we go to Sam's Wholesale to buy that, it was $700 per event, per contest. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff that came up that we said, okay, we got to use that. We didn't get smart music last year. Right now, our goal is to get smart music this summer because we need it. It's a great teaching tool where the kids can access from home, practice along with our halftime show. We upload it. It listens to them, it grades them, that type of stuff. So that's a large part of that membership and registration fees right there. Uniform expenses. Of course, their theme show shirts, uniform repairs, alterations. Right there, you see that involved in there too. Social activities, you see we spend a lot of money. That's what I think makes us different than a lot of bands. I talked to Crestview High School band director one time. He said, we pay $75 a year. And I said, okay, what do you do? We go to the football games and a couple of competitions. I said, what do you do? We go to the football games. Okay? And I know going off to college and having kids go off to college, that's kind of where we're different. You know, being in the band program here is a social activity for our kids. I think that's why they love it so much. You see the band lock in, the festival day meals, we added that money in here. That's where we feed them a lunch. We did Firehouse Subs box on the way to Biloxi. We did pizza at one. We did hamburgers and hot dogs at the stadium before we went to Enterprise last year. You see that's right there. The snack packs I shared with you about that. I figured $600 in on those. The canned drinks for football games. We've had to pay for those in the past. I know that the kids hate Czech soda. They're the cheapest when I go to the Dixie. Okay? Get Cokes on sale, we drink Coke. If you ever notice your chaperone, you see sometimes it changes Cokes on sale. All right, trying to be smart. Christmas party, band banquet, all that stuff costs us money to do. For example, the awards that we buy our kids, the letters themselves are about $9. The year stripes cost us $4 when the letter and year stripe. The senior medallions cost us about $17 a kid. Okay, plus all the other awards, certificates and stuff that we buy, plus the meal. Marching band, you look over at page 15, marching band. We have to pay. We have our music written, and our music is unique to us. Okay, we have to pay for that. Our drill, Randy Nelson, one of the best in the country, writes our drill, helps us program our show. We have to pay for those types of things. You see all the different competition fees. Everything's going to take. You notice I put halftime show uniform accessories, $2,500. That's the secret part. That's what we're going to get the uniform change. Okay, but that takes money. If we're going to make a uniform color change in 7 seconds, we got to have a lot of material to make that happen. Okay? Color guard flags. Support staff. I'm the only one on staff, and the head football coach and the athletic director are the only ones that get paid to be up here during the summer. Mr. Schultz doesn't get paid. We figured out a few years ago we got so much more on the field, and we brought folks like Miss Letty and Miss Pettis helped some in the past. we bring some college students that are going off, and we give them $300 or $400 or $500 to help us those 2 weeks of camp to be up here. Okay, that's what the camp support staff. Percussion guard, wind technicians. We've got folks that help John, help Dawn, and that's what we usually give them 35 hours maximum per month at $10 an hour. That's the going rate. That's what Governor charges or pays. That's what Pace pays. We got to talking about that. It would be great as well if we could get some wind technicians. In other words, if our clarinets are struggling right now, to maybe get one of the local one of the folks that is a clarinet teacher or a trumpet teacher, and bring those folks in during school something and say, okay, you're going to be there 4th, 5th, and 6th period, and we're going to pay you to come and almost do group lessons, private lessons type stuff. So that's what's there for that. You see the various expenses. We're always having to buy coolers, always having to buy medical supplies, just different equipment for the marching band and the 2,500. Concert bands, you see about 600 there. Our grand total, what it's going to take to pretty much run the marching band and go to the concert MPA that we have in March is about $74,167. Now again, that doesn't include instrument repair. Remember I told you we're purchasing new instruments because the band's growing. That's what it's just going to take to get us through marching season and get us in March, or get us to the concert MPA in March. When I break that down, and you're going to notice off to the side, you see some little stars, the numbers. Some have stars like under transportation all the way to the right, you see 119. Color guards works a little bit differently because there's some of this stuff that they don't necessarily include in, and they're going to pay about $800 or $900 by the time they finish out the year. But the stuff, the stars, is the stuff that the guards included. So I divided those numbers by 180 students total, because we'll probably lose some, we may gain some. It goes back and forth. 163 wins. So if you wonder where those numbers come from, what that means, if it has a star, I divide it by 180. If there's no star next to it, it's divided by 163. What does that mean for you? It's kind of highlighted over there. Total fair share for each wind and percussion member. Tier 1 for the parents, volunteers that work 3 or more events, $420. I know that's more. I have pushed those numbers around, and we just can't do it. Okay? Now, again, $420 a person for the year. Doesn't include the band trip. We'll talk about that a little later. Doesn't include indoor percussion. Okay? But that's for the winds and percussion, $420. I'll just sit regardless for a few minutes. Tier 2, some parents, and when I've seen this, just tell me what I owe you. I'll write you a check. If they don't work with 3 events, it's $520. Okay? Now that's, remember the new folks coming in, they've still got a $195 uniform fee on top of that. Okay? That's the good thing about being a returning parent. You got to pay that anymore. All right? Not like that first year. But that's the fees this year. That's what it's going to take. Again, we cut down with the exception maybe the FSU mandate, and I think that's a worthwhile event. We haven't done it 2 or 3 years. And I want our kids to be exposed to that. I can't cut it much more without just cutting the fun out of the band stuff. Okay? Something else that we've decided we've got to do. Notice right below that, the school-owned instrument maintenance fee. Other programs have been doing this for years. We kicked it around the last 2, and we're finally biting the bullet. Students that play a school-owned instrument, that's the tubas, that's the baritones, that's the tenor sax, bass clarinets, French horns, and the marching equivalent to those instruments. We provide instruments. I shared with you the tuba cost $100 to get a bracket resolved. It wouldn't play without that bracket because the inside of it was moving. What we're doing there is if they play one of those instruments, one of those school-owned instruments, they pay an extra $50 maintenance fee to go into the pot. That includes percussion as well, which will go into the pot to help with drum heads, mallets, the stuff that we have to replace for percussion instruments. The money's just not there, folks, and we got to make our budget happen. Does that make sense? So, and please understand, I spent days looking over this thing. So, you have something? If you flip the page real quick, page 16, fair share fees. I've given a breakdown, and here's the cool thing, what I tried to do is spread it out from the band commitment registration fee, which we've been preaching to the kids. You put an email of $50 due by next Wednesday. And notice you don't need to worry about new members, but the returning members, all the way to where your $420 isn't due. Not all of it is due until December the 5th. It used to be the end of October, but we've tried to spread it out to where you have $50 here, the next month $100, and $50 and $50 and $100. Now, you can pay it all up front. Matter of fact, we'd appreciate it if you can. It will. Okay? But we do want to work with folks. Now, this past year, We were not able, 2 years ago, you may remember those parents that were here 2 years ago, we had to hold the line up, when we held line on things and said, if you don't have this amount in this account, you can't get on the bus and go to the second football game. Last year, we had to lax on that because we went on a cruise, and all that cruise money had to be paid by December. And so we just kind of backed off, we got extremely busy, all this money's coming in, and after we got off the cruise, we started, breaking kneecaps and doing what we had to do to get money in. But back to this year, we gotta hold folks to that accountability. I'll tell you, there was about a month before the band banquet that I did not sleep very well. All right, because we're about 17,000 the whole year. Kids probably came home and said, Mr. Weaver said we may not have a band banquet. Okay? Because we had to get the money in. We had bills that we didn't have money to pay, where some folks were delayed getting that stuff in. The good news is we've got most all that in, with the exception of just a handful, and we're still trying to work with us, even have some coming today, as a matter of fact. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, let me say that too. Yeah, thank you. Guys, you don't necessarily have to make a $50 or $100 payment as well. I remember I had a family. I had a mother and a daughter. She didn't even have a car. They would take a taxi up here. They would walk from their house. And I remember that, and I'm not going to say her name, but I remember that the mother would come in and put about $15 in the box every week. And it's all she could afford. But what ended up happening is by about January, February, everything was paid off. And so if you need to do that, okay, we'll work with you. The biggest thing, we need to have the money coming in, because I have to be accountable to the school, and Mr. Thorpe has to be accountable to the school board, that the band can't be $50,000 in the hole at the end of the year, okay? And then there's some additional guidelines there. Making fee payments, let me just go over that real quick here. We have a drop box. If you send a check, there's envelopes that we already have pre-printed. We have thousands of those envelopes. They can get it either beforehand. You can grab some tonight. We'll put some more out if we need to. But we ask them to write their information on there, check number, what it's for. We have a bunch of stuff listed on there. But checks and so forth, money orders, we can drop in the box right there. Cash, please bring into the office. Make sure your child brings it in the office, because we have a receipt book. We're required to write a receipt for cash. Because there have been times where somebody goes, I put $25 in the drop box, and we may not have record of it. Okay, so please, if you'll help with that. We're working, I know that we've run through the boosters, the ability to take a credit card. We're working on something again with Charms, with what's called School Pay. We're trying to get permission to where you may be able to just go into Charms and use a credit card and pay it, and we get a check from Charms. All right, we tried that a few years ago. The school district was not ready to move into the 21st century and tried to, it says, no. Okay, with PayPal, but they've got a new system now. So making those payments. Difficulties with fee payment, with the deadlines. Guys, I know that we've got families that struggle. Sometimes mom and dad are laid off. We're here to work with people. What I ask, and if you'll help me put the word out, they've got to work with us though. They can't just not send money and not communicate with us. You may remember last year we sent out a form that was a band fair share fee payment deadline extension contract. As long as folks are working with us and helping us and saying, you know what, I don't have it for this deadline, but I'm going to do a contract here, and I'll be able to pay you in 2 weeks, then we'll work with folks, okay? So please understand that. So financial stuff, let's see, school on maintenance fee. Next up, Charms. If you look at page 7, Mr. Schultz. Page 7.
All right, well, guys, welcome back to the Milton High Band Room. Good to see returning. Yeah, it's like that. Good to see everyone returning in. I'm looking forward to another great year myself. We got a lot of great ideas coming up, especially with our show and everything. But what I'm going to show you for this is what we use to keep track of records. How many of y'all have gone on to charmsoffice.com in the 3 or 2 or 1 year that you've been here? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, good. How many of y'all get our emails that we send out, email blasts? How many of y'all do not? Okay, this is what, I'll get into that in a second, but first of all, what you see right here, this is our website. We've got a website called MiltonHighSchoolBand.com. We've been working on it all semester. It's a nifty little site. It's got a lot of cool tools on it, fun things to look at in there. So go on there and look around and have fun. There's some interactive things in there too. I like to post a lot of announcements on this site, and it's connected to our Facebook site. So go on there and do that. Charms Office has a link right on our front home page. right there. And this is what you'll get when you click it. Usually when you go, if you do go to charmsoffice.com, you'll have to type in Milton HS Band to get to this screen right here. But it is also, it's on our website, it's right here. You can see our public calendar. All you gotta do is, you don't even have to log in, you click on that, and it shows everything that we got on the calendar for the upcoming year. Most everything on the tentative schedule that we have in your handbook is on there. Still adding stuff daily, but you can already see what performance we're gonna have, where we're gonna rehearse, where we're gonna be, when the fee deadlines are, and all that. So I suggest you don't even have to go on Charms to look at that. That's on our website. But if you do, there it is too. So I'm going to use one of our seniors for this, Katie Brown. Oops. To log into Charms, you do have a on page 7 in your handbook. Page 7 in your handbook, you have a whole set of login information. And to get to your student's account, everyone has been added in there. Even the Mrs. Weaver helped me out, got her class to add in all the rookies, all the incoming people. So everyone's in there. All you have to do to log in your specific account is type in the last name, all lowercase, and the graduation year. In this case, I typed in Brown 2014. So just think of when your child, what the last name is, and when they graduate. Hopefully you know that. And it's all lowercase, all one word. Sometimes you may have a sibling band that's in the same class or a twin. you may have to try the first initial of the first name followed by the last name and then graduation year, and that should get in. If you do have any problems getting in, please don't hesitate to email me, call me, say, Mr. Schultz, I need you to reset my password, let me know what my password is. I'll be more than happy to do it. It's not that hard. All I gotta do is hit the reset button and let you know when to sign in. So, I got it. All right. So that's how you get in. I'm just gonna hit a few of the high points that you really need to know. How do you know how much money you put into your account? Well, you go here, you hit the finance button, right up there. Now, understand, Mrs. Weaver is the band bookkeeper. She's also a school teacher. So, and I say that because a lot of times when you get questions, Mr. Schultz, Mr. Weaver, I put in that check today. Has it gone in yet? Well, not yet, but give it a chance. She's got to teach classes just like the rest of us. So you got to be patient with us. It will go in, and you will get credit for it. But you just have to be patient. If you know you put the check in, or if you know that your child put the check in the box, hopefully, it will show up on this account. Now, just to explain a few things with this, there are 2 big boxes. It used to be different, but this is the simplest way to see it. The first box you see here, well, I'll say 3. The very first box you see at the top, that's your total. If you have anything there, if it's red, that's how much you owe. It'll say total balance due. If it's red, that's how much you have owed. Sometimes you'll have a credit balance. She doesn't have it, but I have seen that. That means that you are above, you are past. That means you have a credit to your account. So that means if you are, you're already working on the fees for next year, if you're going to be with us, following year, I should say. So that's a good. Green is good. Red is bad. That's all I remember. Okay. So that's that box. The box in the middle, this is your trip ledger. We're going to talk about the trip later on, but if anything to do with the trip will be in this box right here. You can see that everything that she was charged $675 for this past year's trip, and then you can see how the payments were put in as they were made. Okay, all you really need to be worried about is that first column. That first column right there. Because that just tells you how many or what the payment amount was, and they do put the check number there as well. If you do really want to know, well, what was the check number on that? There it is. So that's a trip account. And Mrs. Weaver, if you want to stop me at any point, anytime, and talk about this, just let me know. Sorry, I'm trying to be quick too, because I know we got a lot more points to go to. The last box that we have, this is, it's called the miscellaneous ledger, guys. Everything else. This is pretty much everything else. Band fair share fees, uniform fees, all the fundraiser stuff. This is where it gets tallied up. Right here. You can see right off the bat, way back last year, a $25 payment was made to, or the commitment fee was made back then. Later on, we put in the fee for that year, and then you can see that there were payments made through fundraisers. She did a Yankee Candle fundraiser, Service Tumbler fundraiser, Mattress Profit, and all that. So if you have any question about, well, what was my profit on that fundraiser? That's the box you see, the one at the bottom, miscellaneous leisure. Okay? As well as that's how you will keep track of what you paid into it. Is there any questions about the financial side of Charms before I go on to the next thing? Yes, I'm about to talk about that. Any other questions about the financial side?
Also, if you check your child's ledger and you know that there was a payment that was made and it's not in there, just please let me know, because sometimes I have made mistakes and skipped a line on my sheet. So just let me know and I'll be glad to look it up. You just say, hey, I made a payment on such and such date, this check number, and I'll be glad to look it up.
Usually you can just email us and we'll just forward it. It's what we usually do. And she forwarded it back.
Now, other things with this homepage, we talked a lot about volunteering for the band this year. We're gonna a lot of our band boosters going to put up here on the website, and we're also going to put here is this volunteer icon here. Right now, all there is the bands on Blackwater and meat sticking in June. We are really going to incorporate signing up on Charms as a way to know that you are wanting to do that. And all you have to do, you click on that event. In fact, you click on that event, you'll simply type in your name and email address, and I'm thinking phone number too. And the person in charge of that event, the board member or someone on the committee, will call you and say, hey, or email you and say, hey, just verifying that you are definitely going to be there. Or sometimes it may come down to, hey, we have way plenty of help and you're kind of down on the list. We don't need you this time, but please sign up for the next thing. You'll be one of the first to get in there. Okay? So that's the way that we need to do it. Please understand, we want you to help. We want you to help. And we need to fill these lists up all year. So please do that. We do have No Flight students that are here. No Flight, we're doing that again next year. That's the thing that we go on, that you go on and write your own tunes, write your own stand tune that we can read, something we have done that in the past. Absences, parents, you can check on your students' absences if there's anything that they were absent from. We do at the end of the year, we do tally all these up, and these go, well actually at the end of each 9 weeks, these do go towards the grades, and if there's any unexcused absences, that brings your grade level down in the class, okay? Band is a co-curricular activity, meaning that if you are absent from the after-school stuff, it can count against your grade. And this is a way for you to tell, okay, was that absence excused? And if you don't, if you need to get an excuse, students know that all they have to do is fill out an absence appeal form the day that they come back, and give it directly to me, or with the note from you or a doctor or whatever. Okay? Am I doing okay? All right. One last thing about Charms. There is an app for that. Just like for everything else in this world, there's an app for that. There's an app for that. Download it. I think what you'll see on the app is similar. What you see similar to this, and it has all the full functionality. You can see the same thing. Now, here's another great thing. If you turn the page to page 8, right there on the back, you have directions. You can sync our calendar to your phone, to any mobile device, really. iPhone, Android, Windows, BlackBerry. If anyone has those. You can sync in any one of those. All you have to do is follow the directions on there. Guys, I highly encourage you to do that. I know anytime Mr. Weaver asks me, hey, what day are we doing this, or what time is that? I always pull out my phone, go to my calendar, and boom, it's right there. The easiest thing to do, the easiest thing to keep track of what we're doing. Now, lost my train of thought, but that's a really good thing to have on your mobile phone. Okay, if you get it working right. So, any questions about charms? Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Any other questions? Yes.
Can we still do block volunteer hours on the?
Well, we've been going back and forth about that. On Charms, yes, you can get a log of your volunteer hours as long as you sign up for it and go. We are still keeping track outside of that of volunteer hours, but you can see if you ever have a question, how many hours do I have? As long as you sign up there and you did go to it, you can see a total amount there. Otherwise, our booster, our Band Parent Association will keep track of that for you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Guys, let's move it down the list here real quick. You'll notice conditioning exercise program, page 2930. We're a little bit late getting started because it's just been so hectic this school year at the end of it. But we are going to try back up the couch to 5K, at least to start getting our kids conditioned for marching bands. You know, putting those uniforms on, being out there marching, playing. It takes, there's a big time physical aspect to that. So we will be starting that back up. You can read that on page 2930. Look at page 31. This is for your refrigerator at home. Because you'll be pulling these other pages off. Here's our schedule for next fall and for most of the year, minus the concert bands, rehearsals in January, February. But you can see we're going to do the week. We're very successful with a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this past year. And once we got the halftime show on the field, we dropped the Tuesday night rehearsals, you may remember. And that's the plan again. The first couple of Thursday rehearsals will be at night simply because we have to share the practice field with our football team. And once ninth grade and JV starts their games, it's not an issue because varsity does a walkthrough. But I'm starting after August 28th and that preseason game, then we'll move to Thursday afternoons. And then once we get through our last competition, starting on October the 23rd, we'll simply go to one rehearsal a week until the end of football season, depending on how far we make it in the playoffs. And I saw anything and everything happen last year, being 3-7 in the playoffs. So understand that. You'll see I'll give you a copy of our football schedule combined with our competition schedule. We bolded September 27th. We are going back to Biloxi, Mississippi, to Biloxi High School. There was a show earlier that day and a competition that night. We're planning to do that unless it's 126 on the field again, and we may opt out of the earlier performance. But hopefully it won't be that hot like it was last year. Last year we were on the AstroTurf, and after we got done performing, and we're going to the bus, get everybody inside now. And I said, we've got air-conditioned charter buses, we're good. Okay, get on the bus. And then we were a little bit later, we were eating, and one of the directors came and said, you know how hot it was on the field when you were marching? I said, well, they said 126 degrees. I said, well, that would explain why the kids kept saying, my feet were burning, were your feet burning? So, only an AstroTurf. But we are going there September 27th. I just showed you how tough band kids are. October 11th is our Florida Band Masters District 1 marching in PA for Long Beach High School. Unfortunately, and I had been to the office and I filed my complaint, it is the same week as homecoming. And I understand homecoming is sort of set by the administration and the head football coach to correspond with a non-district game because it's a distraction for the football team, okay? Even though we're the ones that are up here all week performing and so forth. But Mr. Thorpe did feel our pain, and we're probably going to drop some parts of homecoming, such as us going on the field and playing for 20 minutes of background music at pregame. Possibly drop homecoming escapades on Tuesday night because that's an important week for the band as well. And so we've always suffered the week we have homecoming in FBA because by Saturday our kids are so exhausted they can't do their best for the biggest part of our marching season. October 14th may change. As soon as we put that and we sent it to print, they got an email that they want to do the Santa Rosa County Marching Band exhibition on October the 21st, but that's not in stone yet, so that may change. Notice that we're also going back to Enterprise. We went there 2 years ago on October the 18th. And you'll see the rest of football. You'll see November the 11th, we're planning to do the combined band for Santa Rosa County Veterans Day. And then you'll notice, you'll look on down, you'll see some of the other dates that we have got going on there, and so forth. So if you'll notice that right there as well, band Christmas concert, band spring concert, band banquet. Tentative means that we're predicting when these are going to be, and but we're still getting things on the school calendar and getting things approved. Yeah.
Guys, one more thing, Sean. If you are not getting the emails, what I need for you to do is log into your account and update your information. You can do that online or on your mobile app.
On the back of that is just the lettering application for next year, just an example to sort of show you. We'll pass these out as we get closer to the school year, but the points the students must receive for that. Next page is the absence appeal form. Yet another example for you. They can pick the real ones up in front of the money box right over here. But I do want you to look real quick, page 34. This is the band student parent contract. We need these back by Friday, July the 18th. That is the band lock-in. What that pretty much says is that, okay, we've read this information. We understand that we have fees. We understand that all this stuff is due. And Mr. Schultz, we didn't change the vote thing right there. It says 375 fair share. It's now 420. Okay, so understand that, and that we'll put another email copy of that out. Okay, the student contract. Flip the page. Notice page 35, 36 is the band medical form. This is what allows us before school and after school to give medications out to our students. In the event of an emergency, we have used these many times. We have to take a kid to the ambulance. This is where we know about their allergies and give all the medical information that we need. So these need to be back by Friday night, July the 18th. Again, the same night as the band lock-in. And most all of you have done that before. Notice the middle, it says non-prescription meds that your child may not take. In other words, if there's something they are not allowed to take, but you put that there. But otherwise, if it's over the counter, if they're gassy and they need gas X, we'll give them gas X. And so forth, okay? Or Pepto-Bismol or whatever, okay? So notice on the back of the medical form, page 36, that needs to be signed off by a parent, at least one parent, okay? Notice one of two things. You get it notarized, that's at the bottom, or right in the middle, you can get two other adults to witness that for you. It does not need to be an immediate family member, but a couple other band parents. And sometimes we have band parents up here that will do that for you. You can do that in lieu of notary. And then look at the last page, page 37. This as well is due on Friday, July the 18th. So important that that we get this information turned in, guys. This is where we want to get information from you so we can plug you into what's going on in our band program. All right, if you'll look down, there's several new things that the board has come up with. You'll see, for example, in the second column, the Crawfish Festival. We're talking about we need to start some things besides just kebab sales where we can grow these things and do them and build them up every year. We've got a great facility to hold festivals right here. We have one gate. We have lights. We have restrooms. So we're trying to build these things up, but some folks may have more experience running festivals than other folks. One other idea, a Mardi Gras ball. Milton doesn't have a Mardi Gras ball. Pensacola does. Some of you guys attend Mardi Gras balls. But we've got some ideas. We need folks that know about these things and do these things. It'd be great to have a Mardi Gras ball maybe starting the Imogene. It'd be great if we outgrow the Imogene in 2 or 3 years. And we're in February, we've got $5,000 or $6,000 coming in so we can purchase new equipment, new instruments as we need to. You know, I'll put on your 5K run. We're talking about doing maybe a December 5K run, ugly Christmas sweater 5K. You can look at me, I don't do 5Ks. You can tell. I've done one of ours a few years ago. Okay? But I wouldn't know how to put one together because I've only done one. But there may be folks that run them all the time, and you can plug in there. Poker run, put that on here. I don't ride motorcycles. But maybe we have band parents that do that know what a poker run is. I know what it is. But that want to coordinate that. Okay? Or a golf tournament. And so we may not do these things if we don't have parents to step up. We may not be able to do them but we want to plug folks in where you can be plugged in. Does that make sense to you? Notice on here, it says use M for mom, D for dad, G for grandparent. That's just so we have an idea who to contact, okay? If mom and dad are both good at baking, put M and D, or mom and grandparent, or whatever. Because we have that need, we've got a database to go, you know what? Mrs. Smith says she loves to bake. Ms. Smith, we need, brownies for this event. We're doing a bake sale or whatever. So that's what that's all about. Okay, any questions about that? Oh, the bottom part. And guys, we got this from something we'll talk about in a little bit, Association of Youth Parents. Notice the bottom. We may have other positions and needs that come up during the year. And it says our friends might describe us as outgoing, nurturing, creative, list task-oriented. We just want to know more about you because we may have something corporate type, for example. You know what? We may have to storm the school board building, and we need some corporate types that'll take their briefcases in and help us or whatever. But if you can help us out with that, we want to know more about our parent organization and our parents and who you are. So if you'll fill that out and get that back as well. Are there any questions up to this point? Look back at your agenda. Bullet 7. Rehearsal uniform, summer uniform are pretty much going to be the same. I want to remind you that our kids for band camp, for rehearsals and all, need to have white t-shirts. They can have writing and logos. That's fine. Remember, the white reflects the heat. We ask that their shorts be a neutral, dark type color, black, blue, khaki, brown. We don't need hot pink and cherry red because it's a uniform as well. So as we're watching from up top, it's visually appealing. Okay, the athletic shorts are fine for that. Summer uniforms, what we used last year because it all runs together after a while.
The polos.
We had the white polos, black shorts, right? One year we used blue jeans, that's kind of confused ever since. And primarily white tennis shoes. We ask them, if we look at your shoe and it looks more red than white, it's not primarily white. But if it's white with a little bit of red, that's fine. And we're not real picky about that, but kids will push the line and go, well, there's a white stripe on it, okay? So when we're going to summer uniform, that first game or so, and we'll use those maybe for like homecoming parade and such, but they're white polos. Other stuff on there, don't forget the Shish Meat Sticking, Monday, June 30th, 12 to 6, right here in the NHS cafeteria. The things your kids are going to need for band camp, let me just remind you, water packs or water bottles are fine, little packs you get at Sam's, or the thermos bottles. We'll have water and stuff, we always do, but a lot of times we give the kids a gush and go, which means they have about a minute to run the sideline and consume so that we can keep rehearsing. And about once an hour or so, or every 45, depending on they eat 45 minutes or so, we'll give them an extended break. But if we have a moment, we will say gush and go, where they can run the sideline, grab a drink of water, because it usually ends up there's 50 of them that didn't think about bringing water, and they all run to the water table and they have 45 seconds, and 3 of them get water, and the other ones are moping back to their spot. Okay, so water packs, water thermoses, that type of stuff. Clothing, again, hats, light colored clothing will be outside in the morning, same schedule as the past, outside in the morning, okay? Inside in the afternoon, back outside in the evening. So they'll need that stuff. Of course, towels and stuff, sunscreen, meals. I did get an email the other day, during the day, the cafeteria program here, if you're not aware of this, I think it's any child under 17 can come up to the cafeteria and eat for free, right? During the summer, okay? And I know a lot of our kids, it's a standard, it meets the code for the state and so forth. It's not the chicken nuggets and french fries usually, it's the, is Miss Whitfield here? No, okay. It's the, she might give you more, but it's usually some type of meat, a vegetable. And I remember in years past, we would take the rookies through. A lot of times the kids go, I don't want green beans. No, you've got to take the green beans because it's part of the federal program. Just throw them away. But that's going to be available. Of course, we got the place across the street. Last year, and I think we're going to try it again this year, we did the concession stand. The booster sponsored where they could eat back here as well, if they didn't bring a meal, and we did it for right at cost. And we sort of just barely broke even. On that, we're going to offer that again. But on that, we're going to give a slip earlier before we start band camp to the kids. Some of them started running accounts last year, and then parents showed up, sneak preview, and we go, your kid owes $110 from the concession stand. And we had a couple of heart attacks and some ambulances called. But we're gonna, if they're going to start a charge account, we're going to send something home for you to sign to set a limit on them. So they're not buying themselves and their friends and everybody food. You got more of a say in that. So be aware of that. So that's the stuff needed for band camp. Some instrumental needs. Guys, I shared with you earlier that we're growing. If you'll flip over real quick, you'll see I gave you the Milton High School Band instrumental needs. We're short of instruments right now. We're trying, if you've been by the chamber or in front of Milton High School, you've seen flashing on their signs, Milton High School Band needs your help. Okay? We've got to have these instruments so that we have an instrument for all the kids in the band when we start band camp. Okay? We've got several things. We've asked the city. I know the chamber, I did look, Mr. Peach, you sent me that newsletter. It is on the chamber's newsletter. We're trying to put the word out. We're trying to hit up some folks that we think might can help us, but we need these instruments to start band camp in July. As you look there, 2 King sousaphones, 2 St. Petersburg concert tubas, which we actually won't probably need until once we start the school year, but the percussion snare drums, percussion tenors, concert bass drum will eventually, or actually we need for the halftime show, vibraphone marimba, because we've got so many kids in the drum line. All right, we want to be able to put them all on instruments. But about $31,000 of instruments. If some of you may work for corporations that love to give away money, if you can help us. I've had several folks go, well, get in contact with this person, get in contact with that person. Hey, you can apply for a grant. We're swamped right now trying to get ready for this meeting, the other meetings, everything that's going on. If you can help us with that, especially if you work for a company or know and can help us try to find that money, that would be great. Okay? And that's anything you want to say about that? We need it.
I was just gonna say, do y'all have a letter already made up, or a letterhead we can put something on?
I do. I've got something I sent to the chamber, and I guess I'll send that out to the band parents tonight before I leave. So you'll have a copy of that. I'll send it out on school letterhead. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that their companies will match volunteer money or volunteer hours. Walmart, I was told, and I don't know this for a fact, that they will donate $20 for every hour that one of their employees volunteers time. So not only you getting your $100 incentive money, but you're also giving us money. And those kind of donations are going to go directly to our instrument fund. So keep that in mind, check your companies.
And also, the boosters are a 501c organization, which means it's tax deductible.
Yeah. So we need, and I told you earlier it takes an army, so if you could help us with that, please do so. If you need to talk to me afterwards or anything, we can talk about that as well. I left this off. Let me mention chaperoning though. If you do want to chaperone, we do have chaperone training sessions that you need to go through in the year yearly. Okay, and that's where we give you the information with chaperoning. At the July booster meeting, usually I follow up the July and the August booster meetings. At the end of the Band Parent Association meeting, I usually do the chaperone trainings, and then we'll take a month or so off, and then we'll do more. But please, if you would like to chaperone, we'll send out information about that. But if you we'll plan to be at all the meetings, but we'll do those following the Band Parent Association meetings in July and in August. Okay. Anything, Ms. Tina, you said about chaperoning? Got it covered? All right. Changes for this year, just to kind of remind you, the volunteer incentive program, we talked about $100. It's a 2-tier fair share fee system, $520 or $420. I skipped the color guard page earlier, and that was accident, time sake. But notice there's this $450, $550. Okay, for the color guard. I think we got 2 or 3 color guard parents here tonight as well. So take note of that. We have that 2-tier fair share fee system. The school-owned instrument maintenance fee I talked about earlier, $50 for that. Something else that we are trying, and I shared with leadership today, I have personally, and I've looked through lists, and I know we've got band parents and already in other areas that plug in that work. And by no means am I trying to offend other folks by why did you pick me? But I went through and I have chosen some folks to sort of be the liaisons, what we call section moms or section parents. Let me kind of explain that concept. If you remember elementary school, we had you had classroom moms, ring moms that would call and go, hey, I need you to bring, if you can send chips with Timmy, and if you can send brownies, we've got a party this Friday that communicated with the parents. The way we communicate and understand that we're going, me and the Schultz are going just as hard as we can go. Matter of fact, I've had 2 days this year where we weren't busting it, or I wasn't busting it in the office, where I actually sat back and go, what do I do one right before Christmas? But But what I've asked these folks to do, and I've personally contacted, is to sort of be the section moms, the person that I can go to, Ms. Schultz can go to, or the Band Parents Association can go to and say, will you make contact with the section parents in your section and let them know we need help on Friday night, or see if you can line us up 3 people for Friday night, or it may be remind them that the $100 fee payment is due this Friday, that type of stuff. Or it may be, we've got an emergency, we've got to cancel practice, you know, that type of stuff, to kind of serve as that liaison. Here's what I hear a lot of. We send out emails, we send out texts, we use a lot of technology, but I have a lot of parents that I communicate with that go, well, I don't check my emails. Oh, I thought that was spam. Or, I don't check my text, okay? And so what we want to get more personal. One of the things that the executive board talked about, we're like a big family, and we want to get a little bit more personal and have that personal contact. We talked to the student leadership today about this, is how they communicate, and how they got to start looking people eye to eye and talking and addressing those people. And we've got to remember that as well. There's a human touch to what we've got going on as well. Those section parents, section moms, that's what their role is to sort of be our representatives, the ones that reach out to the different parents in the section to hopefully get more involvement. But I know as well that most of them, you came as a freshman parent, probably came to that meeting, and we went over the band handbook, and you took all that stuff home and went, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? We want these section moms to be the ones that the new parents can call and go, I've got a question, and they can get in touch with and talk to. Yes, ma'am? I'm fixing to introduce them. Yeah. All right. But we want them to be sort of the go-to, because a lot of folks they're afraid we're going to bother Mr. Weaver, Mr. Schultz, or maybe they're intimidated by us or something like that. But I'm going to ask them to stand. I know quite a few are here. For flutes, Ms. Paula Thorpe in the back here. For clarinets, Ms. Shauna Skinner in the back over here. For saxes, Ms. Shelley Waters. I know she's here. There you are. For trumpets, Miss Becky Rhodes. This is Miss Rhodes. There you are. Okay. For horns, Miss Michelle Stevenson, right up here. Trombones, Miss Valerie Nation. Baritones, I saw Mr. Wade. Miss Wade's not here tonight, but Mr. Wade, okay. But Laura Wade. Tubas, Susan Whitfield. Miss Whitfield here. I asked about her earlier. She runs our cafeteria in here too. Percussion, Cassandra Bean. In the back, right back here. And color guard, Miss Brandy Taylor. Is Miss Taylor here? I haven't seen her. Okay? But again, and some of these bigger sections are going to need help. We're going to talk to them. We're going to be, and you may notice one of the sign-ups on there is being an assistant to them. What I told them is that I need them to be the leads, the ones that I send the email out to or the call out to, and so we can activate a phone tree, so to speak. But thank you, ladies, for volunteering to do that as well. Okay, thank you so much. And I think we're going to see that's going to be a great tool, and will hopefully get more folks involved. It's also going to give us a little bit more personal touch. One of the things I shared with them, guys, a lot of times we've got families that are needing our band, and sometimes the kids are too proud to tell us anything. And I figure if these folks start to develop those relationships with the parents of the section, they can communicate that with us, and we can provide the assistance sometimes that students may need, and so forth, to put more of a human face and a human side to it. So thank you again for volunteering to do that. One of the handouts I gave you, on one side it had the instrumental leads, but on the other side it says Association of Music Parents Membership. We have joined a national group called the Association of Music Parents. This is something that's sort of just barely getting off the ground. It is a collaborative effort of band parent groups, a grassroots effort from all over the country. It should be on the back if you got the music, instrumental needs, where I gave you, we need 30-something, 31,000. It's on the back of that. Okay? But we have joined that. What we joined for the $280, $300 that we paid, what that means is that you all have a free membership into that. Now, what this site contains for band parents and music parents is a ton of information that talks about how music makes your child smarter, legislative stuff. There are ideas as a band director that I can get to, our booster can get to, how to feed the band all season long. We share on there, we'll share some of our forms, other folks will share their form. The volunteer sheet you saw tonight, I took it and tweaked it from one of the folks that had uploaded that to that site. But you'll notice on here that all you got to do is go, and I'm going to send this out as an email, we'll actually have a link, but you go to that website right there. When you get to the coupon code, you put in MILT14, and that is your payment. Okay, that shows them that we as an organization have joined. And I think it's great that we can go and we can, with a band in St. Louis, Missouri, we can share fundraising ideas, we can share information, and you know, so we're not having to work as hard, but we can work smarter. So just wanted to throw that out there. Please join up on that. You can see there's videos on there, advocacy techniques, engage how we get more parents involved, thought-provoking, hilarious blogs, all types of things that are on there for you to use. All right. Any questions about anything up this far? We're almost done. Band trip. We talked to you about band trip. And here's the cool thing. There's a plus and negative to band trip. It's gotten to the point where the school district is telling us that we can't miss school. And I'm going to be honest with you, just to get the kids out for one day for band day is becoming a big deal. Where we're having to, okay, this teacher said you got to go to second period. This teacher said you got to go to third. And that's the high pressure testing that we're all under. All this end of course exam. There's going to be end of course exams starting next year for band as well. For band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4. Okay? Matter of fact, next year every class is supposed to have an end of course exam. I don't know if you're aware, but since the middle of April, with the exception of about 3 Fridays, there's tests being given. These end of course or FCAT testing every day on this campus. All right? So, what? Yeah. Okay. Well, he's usually over here with his class because they're as loud. But there's, and they use the cows and the computer on wheels and all that. But because of that, it's hard for us to get kids out. The last year or so, couple of years, we have taken our spring break to go. Okay. This year, to be honest with you, several of us are going to be gone because we're going with another school group that we had planned a year or two ago to go to Europe with a group from Milton High School. In that, we were looking at alternative dates. I looked at some of the 3-day weekends. This is the year that we go to Atlanta and Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. And we kind of came up with, there were 2 options that we could do. One was to go at Christmas, and the other was to go at the end of the school year. And I went and talked to Mr. Thorpe about it, and I know that Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is great at Christmas, but so are hotel rates and all that stuff. They're great at Christmas too. And so what we're looking at doing, and we called in our juniors, some of our juniors from this that are fixing to be seniors, and we asked them, what do you think if we were to take it at the end of the year? And we sat down with Mr. Thorpe, talked to him about it, and what most of them said after they thought about it for a minute, well, that's kind of cool. Because there's several good things about it. Next year's school year, last week is going to be just like this year. Monday's Memorial Day. Milton High School graduates Tuesday night. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are half days. And so what our plan is to leave Friday about 3:30. School gets out at 1:30 or somewhere around there. Is to leave about 3:30, drive to Atlanta. We won't be rushed. I have to hurry up and get back because can only miss one day of school. Drive to Atlanta, get up there, eat a late dinner, check in the hotel, get up Saturday, go to Six Flags over Georgia, spend all day there, go back to the hotel that night, then get up Sunday, usually start traveling up through North Georgia, stop at the Dillard House, feed them lunch at dinner at the Dillard House, make our way over the mountains, stop at the top of the mountains, come back down into Pigeon Forge. We'll probably plan to stay at the Inn at Christmas Place, which the kids absolutely loved the last time. There's your Christmas in June. Right? Do a show that Sunday night, get checked in the hotel, do a show that Sunday night. Maybe on Monday, we take them to over Gatlinburg, but they'll make their way back down to Gatlinburg Parkway like we normally do. Do maybe Dixie Stampede that Monday night. And then usually we come home the next day, but maybe spend an extra day, and maybe do some breakout stuff. I know a lot of times the kids are like, we go through Pigeon Forge, but we don't do anything but shows. Are like go-karts, swings, And so maybe give them a day of choices where perhaps if we can get school board permission, we take one bus and go whitewater rafting with that group. Maybe one group wants to go up and hit some of the trailheads back up at the national park. And, and there'll be adults with all groups, and it'll be coordinated. Maybe one group just simply wants to hit the parkway with a group of parents, and they get to go-kart tracks and souvenir shopping and that type of stuff. And then on Wednesday morning, we load the buses up, we start making our way back. The cool thing about that is this, and this is what some of the seniors went, wait, does that mean that our band trip won't have to be paid in November and December? And that's true. That means that we can start doing the deposits in January and start spreading the payments over the second semester. Okay? The seniors all said, man, that's cool because that's like a senior trip. and a band trip combined. And then we said, but don't forget, when you pull up on the bus, that's also gonna be a real sad moment for you too, because at that point, it's all over. And, yeah, but, that's the beauty of it, that's the plus of it. I'll say this, the following years, the Washington, New York trip, we won't be able to do it any other time but once school gets out. So this is kind of preparing us for that as well. So I just wanted to put that out there. May 29th through June the 3rd is what we're looking at. I don't have prices yet. Last time that trip cost about $450 per person, okay? And because there's less overhead, it may be a little bit more because we're going to spend an extra day. And if they go water rafting, that would, compared to hiking a trail, there's going to be an expense for those kids that do that, almost like an excursion. But I wanted to put that out there to you to just let you know that's the game plan right now. That's what we're looking to do. Is starting the last afternoon we get out of school, we get on a charter bus and we head northeast. Okay. Upcoming fundraisers. I shared all this with you about the fair share fees, guys. We've got fundraisers. Last year we offered too many. I'm gonna be honest. We were overwhelmed with fundraisers because that's all we were ever doing. But guys, we had very few folks that participated in fundraisers last year, and it's hard to look at a student and say you can't go to the band banquet or you can't get on the bus, and they go, we ain't got the money, and I look at the fundraiser stuff and go, well, you haven't done anything. All right? We got 3 scheduled this summer that folks can knock their fees out of the park, because I've seen folks do it. Cookie dough fundraiser we've got going right now. Your students on last week received those packets. They're due by next Tuesday. Why don't we do that? That's quick, that's easy, because there's a $50 commitment fee due next week. We wanted to give them an opportunity. I told them the other day, if they sold 10 items, they're $50. They make 40% profit. Every bit of the profit goes straight into their accounts. We've had some folks make $300, $375. Ask Vera Cooper, Grayson Drake's grandma. She knows how to sell cookie dough. Okay? So it's 40% profit on the cookie dough. That can help them offset that $50 fee that's due next week. But a lot of times kids don't tell you that. Or if you don't read the email, you don't see that we send that out. Another big one, I gave you a car wash pledge-a-thon sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. This, I have seen kids make over $400 washing cars for 4 hours. And it's all in the work beforehand. Let me explain the beauty of how this thing works right here. Students go out between now and when the form is due, which is going to be the Thursday before it takes place, which is July the 10th, and they get pledges from grandparents, from neighbors, from friends, maybe folks you're in a social or community club with, church, wherever, and they go, hey, will you pledge between 1 to 5 cents for this pledge-a-thon that we're doing? They go out, they get $2 in pledges. Okay, let's just say they get $2 in pledges. All right, they hit up, 20 people. Some folks are going to go, I even broke down. Each year we've done 210 the first year. It got rained out last year. We did 199 before the thunderstorms hit. So it's going to be less than 250 cars probably. All right? But let's say they pledge 5 cents. We do 250 cars. That person pays $12.50. They probably own 2 cars at home. It's a free car wash in our community. They bring both cars out. They help the band, and they get both cars washed, and they give us $12.50 that student's funds. All right? But let's say that student gets, we'll just say that student gets $1 in pledges. If we wash 200 cars, the following Monday when we come back to rehearse, after the car wash, we send out a letter for them to take around that says we washed this many at this location. We have 5 different locations in town. We already have 3 of those lined up. Advanced Auto Parts on Dogwood Drive right over here. Kia Auto Dealer on Highway 90, right there before you get to Glover Lane. As a matter of fact, last time, it started to rain, but they were ready for us to wash all the cars on the lot so we can count them. Cooper Plumbing, right up here on Stewart Street. We're still working on the Avalon location. We've used a convenience store, the racetrack is right here on this side of the interstate. And last year, we've Claude Duvall let us use local Yokel, which was a hot spot until the rains hit last year as well. We're going to try to get there as well. We just haven't had a chance. But the kids show up, we work 2 shifts. They either work shift 1 or shift 2. They wash cars for 4 hours. We document the tag numbers as each car comes through. We usually have 2 leads, and they document the tag numbers, and then on Monday we send that back out. The students go out, they collect their pledges. If we wash 200 cars and that kid got $1 in pledges total, there's $200 for washing cars for 4 hours. Now, if we take the band out and we wash for donations or we wash for $3 a car, we'll make about $150 for the car wash. Each kid makes $2 that will work. Okay, does that make sense? The beauty's in the numbers. Please, we always on Thursday, we get those sheets in, and I start asking them at that first Monday night rehearsal, how much you got in pledges? All right, we're up to $2.20 a car as a band. We should be making $60, $70 a car, easily, if not more. So please work this. Please encourage your kids to work it. Again, when folks pledge, ask, man, bring your car. Bring all your family's car. Ask your in-laws to bring their cars. The more cars we wash, the more money we make. Okay? Yes, sir.
Are you going to cap it again this year, or are we just going to let it go limitless?
What now?
Are you going to cap the number again this year, or are we going to let it go limitless?
I put on here maximum number of cars 250. You know, that's what they would pay. We've never washed more than 210 cars.
I ran a Kia one last year, but like I
What did you
said,
say?
now.
Oh, and I changed it down bottom. Okay. I was trying to get more closer to math. We'll cap it. Do this one. We'll cap it at 300. Okay, that's what we did in the past. I changed it to 250 because it was closer to what we've been doing. Okay. Yeah, boats and 18-wheelers, we've done RVs. The van truck got washed at like 3 locations last year. Okay. So, right. Yes, ma'am.
People asking, can they donate just a set amount? Can they just say?
Absolutely. You know what? It all goes to that kid. Yeah, so if they say, I'm going to donate $15 to Susie, you know, Susie puts $15, that's absolutely fine. Yeah.
Some people like,
They'd rather give a flat, because they got it in their pocket right then.
I didn't
Yeah.
know about the maximum last year, so this might be why I have these questions, but some people were just like, well, I don't want to commit, but can I just pay when I get there? Do you take donations?
Well, we take donations. Let me explain to you what we've done with donations the last 2 years. Because we do take donations. One year we had a guy go show up at Ollie's, I think, or one place to give us $100. You know, and what we do is we've actually set that aside. We have students that have the hard times, the needs. We've been able to, usually it's $120, $150. We've been able to say we can scholarship this amount if you can come up with the rest. And that's what we use the donations. Now, if they want to give it to Susie, it kind of needs to go to Susie. So does that make sense? So we've used that as almost a scholarship fund for folks that, you know, the parents are way off. And, you know, we don't pay all their fees, but usually I'll give $100, $150 maximum to help out with that. All right, we've got that. We've got one other fundraiser, and I promise we're out of here. So much for an hour. Coca-Cola truckload sale. We are going in with the football team. Here's another great moneymaker if folks will do it. Us and the football team are doing a Coca-Cola truckload sale. And you can see that we're going to start that on July 7th through the 18th. We're going to provide information. Now what this is the 24 case, 20-ounce drinks. The same ones you pay $1.69 at the local convenience store. Okay? 24 in a case. From what I picked up from Mr. West, he helped us with this. They are $24. I know we bought some from ROTC, they've already done one. It's $24. The students, so you're getting them for $1 a bottle, compared to if I stop at the Circle K in the morning, it's going to run me $1.79 if I'm not mistaken. Okay? $1 a bottle and $24 a case. The students make either $7.50 or $8 a case. You sell 20 of those, there's $160 for selling Cokes. It's all the Coca-Cola products. Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, Sprite, all those products. That information will be coming out July the 7th through the 18th. The product, Coca-Cola is going to deliver that truck up here on Thursday, July 24th. We had to coordinate this with the football team. Me and Coach Marsh did not want to be up here on Saturday, and that's here in band camp as well. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Do you have to take it out of their crates and put them in boxes?
Not that I'm aware of. We received the crate when we did it earlier this year.
Okay, I was just asking.
Yeah, good
Pepsi
question.
makes you, if you do it for Pepsi, they bring you the crates and you have to put the
Unload,
boxes
yeah.
and unload it and all that stuff.
Yeah, ROTC did it back in like March, April, and we got the crate. The crate came with it.
Some of them came in the crates, the plastic crates. Some of them were the plastic wrap. I think the Dasani was plastic wrap, and several other flavors. So
But you don't have to take them out of their crates and put them in something else.
No.
Okay.
That's actually, guys, that Thursday's here in band camp. So we'll have the folks here to help unload, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, so we'll need that night. All the parents are going to be up here. The kids will pull their drinks and take their stuff home, or the parents pick them up. They throw it in the car. Okay? I want to put that out there because I know we're talking big money, but guys, the opportunities are there, but I want to make sure we communicate with you about those opportunities. Okay? Are there questions? Yes, ma'am.
For the incentive to work for that $100, if you work in the concession stand or at any fundraising activity, please make sure you sign in. Because I know there are people that have worked and you don't sign in, so you're not getting credit for it. So please, please, please make sure you sign in. Because those are the only people that's going to get the credit for the fundraisers.
Right. If you have questions about your hours, we keep that in database. Yes, ma'am.
Is that $100 off? That's a per family thing, right? It's not like mom can't do it and dad.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if there's two parents working the same event, that would be 2 credits.
You get $100.
Oh, yeah, but it's only 100, yeah. You can't both work 3 events, you get 200 off that. Yeah, if you got 2 kids in the van, yeah. 6 events, not, 100 off each one, 3 events. So, yeah, okay? But yeah, you can't work 9 events and get 300 off now, okay? And that's an incentive, all right? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I need to know if there's anybody that's medical that can work rookie camp next week, because all of us that are medical will be at work ourselves.
Okay.
I'll be here Monday.
I'm here at night.
And it's mostly 8 to 3 is the time, but we're going to pretty much be inside after lunch. So about 8 to 11:30, 8 to noon, we're going to need you inside now. Okay? If you have any parents that work medical that can help us in the mornings next week, see Ms. Tina. Yeah. Also, guys, the $100, the 3 volunteer system we have now, where you book 3 events, actually started with the first bands on the bands on the Blackwater on May the 1st. Okay, so if you've already worked that, you've already got one. For example, we've got 2 because we both worked last Friday night. But I'm gonna tell you this: I'm gonna work more than my 3. Okay, or if I get her, the next one, I have 4. Does that make sense? And that's the game, and the goal is to get more parent involvement. And I promise you, you'll show up, you're gonna have a good time. Yes, sir.
If the kids work one of those paid events, can that count for it?
No,
As
sir.
family?
It's parents.
That's their community service hours.
Yeah, it counts as service hours for them. Okay, yeah. So we need parent involvement. So we're running. Guys, listen to me real quick. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please feel free to email us, call us, let us know. We're going to have a great year. Thank you for being here.